How's it going, everyone? I'm Boone, and today I want to talk to you about how Blackmagic's Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K G2 can be a great A-cam for any documentary filmmaker. Blackmagic's Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K G2 is really a chameleon of a camera. It's super hard to pin down what is the best use of this as it fits into nearly any workflow. So last week I took the G2 into Paris to see how it would hold up as a solo doc rig. Today I'm going to talk about my experience shooting with it and touch on a few things that make this a great setup for shooting documentaries. So first, let's take a look at this 1-minute short that I put together.
Hi, my name is Jay Swanson. I'm a YouTuber in Paris, and one of my favorite things to do in the city is to hunt Space Invaders. Space Invaders are the street art that you see behind me, done by an artist called Invader. He's a Parisian that's been doing it for like 20 or 30 years. I don't even know for sure how long. There's like 1,400 of them in Paris alone. You can collect them in an app called Flash Invaders, which he produced because he's been religious about marking the exact geolocation of all of these, documenting them with photos. They have an app that'll actually cross-reference your photo that you take through the app with your geolocation and verify whether or not it's real, which is nice as well because there are a lot of fakes around the city, so you can tell whether or not they're real by flashing them. It's a really good motivation to get you to go down streets or alleys or different routes that you might not normally walk down, and you're looking up the whole time because you're looking for them, you're spotting buildings, little details that maybe you wouldn't have noticed if you're just staring at your phone. I personally really enjoy walking around finding them. It's a great time, and I've made a couple videos about it in the past just because they're an incorporated part of my lifestyle here in Paris, to the point that I'm even wearing a hat with one on it right now, my Invader with my little sunglasses on it. So.
Alright, so let's talk about the rig. Now, the great thing about this camera is that Blackmagic has a plethora of brand name accessories available. Since I shot everything handheld, I used the shoulder mount kit and the viewfinder. Both of these are high-end products from Blackmagic. The shoulder kit consists of a top handle, shoulder pad, and an extension arm for the side handle. The shoulder pad has a tripod quick release, 2 rosette mounts, and rail options. This really makes jumping between a tripod and handheld shooting incredibly simple, but again, for this shoot, I was doing everything handheld. To power the Ursa, I was using Blackmagic's V-mount adapter plate, naturally to attach V-mount style batteries. For audio, I had this Deity Connect wireless lavalier on my subject, and I placed the receiver on top of the top handle of the shoulder mount kit. Now I'm working with an EF lens mount, which allows me to attach a lot of the lower budget photography lenses to this camera, but it really has mounts for any type of lens you'd like to attach. So depending on your budget, you can really work with any type of lens for this camera. The beauty of shooting with a Blackmagic camera is the raw workflow. So the codec, the camera, and the editing platform are all under the Blackmagic umbrella. Now this makes for a really streamlined workflow. Also, when you purchase the Ursa G2, you get a free copy of DaVinci Resolve Studio. Even if you don't prefer using Resolve, Blackmagic RAW is actually supported by many other popular editing applications. Shooting in RAW preserves all the camera data while on set, so this can open up creative options in post, or just help save over and underexposed shots. With Blackmagic RAW, there are a number of compression ratios available that's going to help fit any budget or workflow. Now, I shot this piece with a 12:1 compression ratio. Using Angelbird's Match Pack, I have 2 256GB CFast cards and 2 128GB SD cards, allowing me to capture just under 6 hours of RAW footage. So there's a reason they call this a cinema camera. The G2 has 15 stops of dynamic range, allowing me to preserve all the highlights and the shadows. This was especially important for this shoot as I was doing everything outside and I was mostly shooting up. You'll notice that in many of these shots, my subject was standing in the shade with very bright backgrounds. These bright backgrounds included buildings and the sky. With this much dynamic range, I can capture all of these exposure values and tweak them during post-production. So you can't really talk about Blackmagic without mentioning color. The company is known for their color science, with Resolve being an industry standard for professional color work. As with the RAW workflow, capturing an image with a Blackmagic camera and finishing in Resolve is a really fantastic workflow. Everything, once again, is under the Blackmagic umbrella. And again, the Ursa comes with a free copy of DaVinci Resolve Studio. When shooting documentaries, it's really great to have the option for variable frame rates. That's one thing I really love about the G2, the undercranking and overcranking options. For this particular shoot, I captured a number of shots at 120 frames per second in full 4.6K resolution. There's also an interval recorder in here, so if I'd like to do some time-lapse shots, I also have that option. Last but not least, I have to mention ergonomics. So a great documentary camera has to have great ergonomics, and the G2 definitely delivers. All of the camera controls are available via buttons and knobs on the exterior of the camera body. Now, there were 2 features that I found myself using quite a bit. The first was the internal variable ND filter. This is pretty much a necessary feature if you're doing a lot of run and gun outdoor shooting. I don't really have the opportunity to stop shooting to put on different ND filters on the front of my lens. There's also a high frame rate button that I found myself using quite a bit. I had that high frame rate preset to 120 frames, so that button would allow me to quickly toggle between 120 and 24, which I was using quite a bit. I would see something that I wanted to shoot, quickly hit that high frame rate button and adjust the exposure to compensate, and I was ready to go in a matter of seconds. It was great. Okay, so there you have it, 5 reasons why you might want to use Blackmagic's Ursa Mini Pro G2 on your next doc shoot. And if you'd like to see another example of the G2 in action on a documentary, be sure to check out The Towers of Tigray. This is a 20-minute doc put together by a production company called Collab Creative, and this is a branded piece for North Face. This filmmaking team was taking the G2 in some pretty rugged environments to capture some pretty stellar images in Ethiopia. If you'd like to check that out, you can watch the film in its entirety. Just head over to the North Face YouTube channel and search Towers of Tigray. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to see more cool content like this, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell.